What do you do, Pisces, when you're having a crazy hair day? You do a reading for Pisces because you know there will be other Pisceans with equally as crazy hair. Kudos. Say hello in the comments. Okay, this is your September reading, Pisces. And you probably already know that we have a full moon lunar eclipse in our sign. And it is a big one, as the actress said to the bishop. So I'm kind of reading with that in mind. I'm going to do a general reading first. I'm going to do a love reading kind of halfway through. There'll be an extended love reading. So if you really, really dig a love reading, it's the first link in the description box. Otherwise, let's take a weird and wonderful oracle card. Ooh, Pisces. We get Crown Games. The right use of power. And weirdly, I read it as misuse of power. Now, I can tell you one thing I do know. Pisces is not that interested in wearing the crown. Maybe a sparkly tiara. Let me know in the comments. But not really a crown. Pisces doesn't really want power. But it's a lunar eclipse in our sign. That is a big deal. So there's something about who holds power over you in your life and how much power you have in your own life. How much you want, how much you can handle, how much you need. Oh my God. Pisces. Two of Cups. Straight out. Whoo, it's getting hot in here, Pisces. Whoo. Okay. Two of Cups, Venus in Cancer. So immediately partnerships are here. This can be literal partnerships, so it can be business. And with Pisces, there's obviously some fudging around the edges sometimes. Business can be friendship, of course, can be romantic. Here we've got Eros coming to deliver the cup to Psyche, who is on her own, really, with her own cup, but she's stuck on a little tiny desert island of her own. Okay, there's an element of kind of rescue. There's an element of message in a bottle. I like the sea references because as Pisceans, we love the sea. But there's also who holds the crown. Heavy is the crown that holds the head. So they say. Nine of Wands, boundaries and defense systems. Now, I've explained before that I feel like Pisces is, I don't feel like we can adopt the same boundary systems as everyone else. Technically, we don't really have any boundaries. The sea kind of has boundaries, but kind of doesn't. Changes all the time. We're mutable, feminine energy signs. So not as easy for Pisces to do that. And also, I'm not sure how possible it is. So I like to think of a Pisces boundary as the anchor rope, because it kind of sways about in the sea, but it does anchor the ship. It does have a purpose, but it also, you know, it's covered in barnacles and it gets a bit rotten and it can wear down. That's more like it. And I feel like you're going to need your boundaries, but they're going to need to be flexible and they're going to need to be genuinely Piscean and genuinely yours. Otherwise, you won't believe them. And for Pisces, you're saying for example, Aries is saying is I am. Pisces is saying is I believe. If you don't believe in it, you're not going to do it as a Pisces. You have to believe. So only be realistic, only exercise the boundaries that you truly believe in. That will be enough in the situation that you find yourself in September, which could be a work discussion, it could be a friendship discussion. It feels to me like it's got the sense of bartering or negotiating something. We have the Page of Swords as well. I love the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is air sign energy, communication, the beginnings of something. It could be that you're having as many of us do these days, quite an important email conversation with somebody. Now, this might come up again in the love reading. We don't know. We're going to do that in a minute. But at the moment, there is an exchange of views. There is a chain of email that I can see. It could be long text messages as well. So something needs to be negotiated. Something needs to be stirred. Then we get to like the 7th. It's only a week into the month, and we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Pisces. That is, it's big. It's sloshy. It's got that whole kind of water balloon blowing up type energy to it. And for that, oh my God. Oof. We get the King of Swords with the 10 of Wands. That's a lot. That is a lot. The King of Swords. This could be a literal person that you're dealing with. Of course, it could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. But also it can be anybody, and there's probably a long list if you're a Pisces, anybody who has jurisdiction over you, such as a boss, a colleague, a manager, an elder person in the family. It could be anybody. But it's someone who is quite wise, they're quite logical, got the scales in one hand, sword of truth in the other hand. But Pisces doesn't like to be under scrutiny. I've had jobs. When I had jobs, the good bosses I had, and I had some really good ones. I was lucky. I only had one terrible one, and that was horrific. The good bosses I had knew to leave me alone. I was messy, my desk was messy, my timekeeping was terrible, I never used email for a long time. Like, I just wouldn't use email. I couldn't find out how to use it. If anybody wanted to tell me something, they had to write me a note. And I was just like that because that's the best way I could operate. But out of the whole team I was in, I was the most successful at the job. And they knew that. I could do the work, but don't come and say, why weren't you at your desk at 9:02 this morning, Gemma? Because I'm like, maths face. What? So if you have a Pisces and you want to manage them, give them freedom. So King of Swords, not known for dishing out the freedom biscuits. So for you, 10 of Wands, there could be a breaking point, Pisces. If there is any kind of stiffness, opposition, someone who's trying to fence you in, someone who's trying to take that crown and ram it on their head and have the power, you just you don't thrive in that environment. You can't even do that for long. I've tried it. In that environment, you try and toe the line, you try and do what's good, you try and be where you're supposed to be at the right time in the right place. And then you can't really do anything because it kind of kills off all your creative spirit. So just know that you may get hints from the universe, or even bigger than that. If you have a big talk that you need to have with somebody, whether that's a boss or friend or whoever this is, depending on what you want, I'm not sure that I would schedule that for around the time of the 7th. Well, I'm saying I wouldn't actually. It's not that I'm not sure, I am sure. If it's something that needs the lid blowing off and the barn doors blowing out, go for it, because that will happen. There will be more than a robust exchange of views. You will both get to air your side. It could, because it's an eclipse, eclipse something in or eclipse something out. So be aware, and I would say that you're playing with fire, but you're not, that you're playing with water. And water, you know, can be very destructive when it wants to be. So be aware that you may burn your bridges with water if that happens. And if you're prepared for that, great. You know, if you're like, do you know what? I can live without this. Then's the time to have the talk. Okay? Then's the time. Let's have a look at your love cards. I really want to use that one actually. Hang on. There's a certain deck that I want to use. And it's hiding. I've had a day of this, Pisces. Tell me how your day's been. I've had a day of just even more impossibly Piscean things happening than normally would be happening. Like losing everything and not finding things and just generally feeling insane. Let's do some love cards. Love. What do we need to know for Pisces? Love. I'm using some sparkly cards just because it's you, Pisces. Okay, I'm liking that. Pisces. First card I get is the King of Pentacles. This chap is lovely and always nice to get, especially for Pisces, because we can be a little bit all over the place sometimes. This is someone who somebody would refer to as their rock. You know, that person is my rock. I never like that, but some people do. King of Pentacles is somebody who is on time, you can trust. They can be a friend, but they can also show up as a lover. It can be also your values when it comes to a relationship, that you need somebody who is reliable and has a framework in their life and has a knob, a bob and a job, as my mum would say. So we're liking that the King of Pentacles turns up because that's somebody who you know that their actions speak louder than their words and that you can count on them. But it comes up with an 8. We've got the 8 of Swords. And the 8 of Swords is, again, it's about restriction. It's about being stuck. Some of you are stuck in your love life at the moment. You're stuck maybe not knowing which way to turn. Stuck maybe it's going to be quite unstuck when we have these 2 eclipses. We've got another one on the 21st of the month in our opposite sign of Virgo. So there's a lot of release coming around the time of the 7th. And for some of us, that might mean someone is eclipsed out of our life. That's what happens in eclipses. Know, Pisces, that if that happens, it is absolutely not just for the best, but to make way for something so much more right for you, okay? And in view of that, we have another 8. We've got the 8 of Cups. Saturn in Pisces. And I do believe, she says, making a face and looking in my moon diary. There's a reason I had these glasses stuck on my head, Pisces. Do you believe that Saturn has gone back into Pisces? I don't know when. Ugh. And I don't know about you, and do let me know in the comments, but I always find it a real struggle. Yeah, 1st of freaking September. I knew it. Saturn goes back into Pisces. Oh joy. I don't know how long for, but it's a while. It's like a few months, I think. Oh God, Pisces, when Saturn is in our sign, it's like, here we are, you know, summer of 69 or whatever, and love flowing everywhere and being a Pisces, and we don't need boundaries, man, and yeah, let's do it however we want to do it, and you go with the flow and I'll go with the flow. I'm riding the clouds, etc. And then Saturn comes along, which is the 8 of Cups, Saturn in Pisces. The Saturn normally rules Capricorn and is just such a bore. I find Saturn really boring because we're Pisces, and Saturn is like, wow, have you checked that all the exits are secured? You know, that kind of thing. Have you double checked that you've made all the safety measures you can take? Saturn is like a health and safety officer, constantly on your back. And for Pisces, that could be the thing that is like the King of Swords, the thing that is making you feel rebellious And like, you know how you feel rebellious as a Pisces sometimes? You're just like, I am just going to go and whatever it is. And often we're just too lazy to do it, but we feel like doing it. And Saturn, when Saturn is in your sign, the good side of it is that you become more aware of boundaries, like we said in the beginning, more aware of how you stand with people, where you want to stand with people, where your line is. Saturn rules boundaries. It rules systems and duty and doing the right thing. So with the King of Pentacles hanging around in the reading, I think what's happening here, Pisces, is, and this doesn't happen often with a Pisces, and let me know in the comments if you agree, but you're going to be raising the bar. Now, most Pisceans I know, and there's me, I'm a double Pisces, and then my mum's a Pisces, and I know a lot of Pisces people. One thing Pisces is really good at is keeping the bar low, just having low expectations. And I think it's because we're the 12th sign of the zodiac. So you've seen 11 signs try really hard, put themselves through God knows what, tie themselves in knots, and you're like, I don't think so. Also, we're the last sign, we're closest to resurrection, we're closest to the cycle ending. So we always look at the bigger picture, always. In fact, it's a fault with Pisces not to be able to look at the smaller picture, which is what Saturn wants us to do, okay? So we've got our eye on the bigger picture, but Saturn is calling us and directing us and saying, have you looked at this? Have you examined that? Have you dotted the I's and crossed the T's? And what is going on with this person in your love life? And are they falling into line in the way that they should be? Not that they should bend to your will, but just that, do they meet a certain level? Have you raised your bar high enough? It's like doing a time and motion study at work, and the accountant is a Saturn person and comes around and says, Pisces, why is your bar like on the ground? And you're like, well, I won't be disappointed, or my expectations are not that fussed, you know, I'm all right, I can make do with. And in relationships, this could turn into, I can make do with this situationship. I could make do with this friend who's not a friend, who's kind of a friend. And Pisces has loads of those, by the way, you know it. Sort of friend who might be an ex, or just a friend, and all that kind of wishy-washy boundaries. We don't care, we're not bothered, but we're going to need to be bothered, and we are going to bother in September with Saturn in our sign and a full moon lunar eclipse to go with. Okay, so your standard is the King of Pentacles now, turning up on time, being decent, doing what he says he will, following through, having decent morals, a knob, a bob and a job, okay? So no more penniless artists, wasters, poets, whatever, the usual stuff we go, the broken birds, all of that stuff. Think of Saturn as an old school dad standing on the porch. You know, as it used to be in like the 50s or 60s, when somebody used to kind of stand on the porch and be like, what did they used to say? What are your intentions? What are your prospects? You know, that kind of thing. So think of Saturn as doing that to you and making you do that for yourself and throwing you into situations where that's going to happen. I know, like testing situations. Oh, look. You come up with the Queen of Swords. This is the kind of Queen of Swords I would want to be. I mean, look at her hair, her trousers, the rainbow. Yes. That's more like it for me. So, Queen of Swords, being very discerning, being very choosy. And also I think there's something coming up for you, Pisces, because we've got the new moon partial eclipse in Virgo on the 21st, which is a great time for manifesting. and clearing out everything with the Pisces lunar eclipse, and then thinking, well, I don't want that, so what do I want? And then calling it in and bringing it in like a CEO or a boss, and picking over the fine details and making it so that it really works for you. I like that. I like that Queen of Swords. Oof. Hello. What this does, which, because you get clear about what you want, other people in your life get clear about what they want too, because they have to. Because you're not accepting any nonsense, breadcrumbs, halfway house situation, any of that. You're not accepting it anymore. You're now at a stage and a place where, even though nothing has really changed, you feel you can pick and choose just because. And it makes other people step up. And we have the Emperor stepping up, the CEO. Somebody who initiates, somebody can now sense that if they dither, you're going to lose interest or you're not going to be there, that they can't just have you on the hook. Pisces can be, and again, it's a mixture of not being black and white about things, not really needing things to be clarified, and just this sort of easy come, easy go-ness of being a Pisces that some people can take advantage of and can have you on the hook for like, well, you know, when I feel like it, I can get in touch, and when I don't feel like it, yeah, that's not going to wash. Yeah, I love this, Pisces. We get the Fool. This is a new cycle for you, and frankly it kind of starts now. So as you're seeing this video, if you're up for that, give me a high fin in the comments, okay, or whatever, a fish. Say hello, because frankly I think this has been coming for a very long time, and I mean years. The ability to know that no is a sentence in itself, and so is yes, and that you're worth exploring. You know, you're worth being the explorer. You can be the Fool. You can take off on a new route. You're curious, you're agitated, you want to know, but you're not bringing a passenger with you. They need to catch you up on the road if they want to be part of your, I want to say journey. I said journey, I'm sorry. Oh my God. And then we get that. That's a gorgeous card to get. Ace of Cups. And it's psychedelic. I love me a psychedelic Ace of Cups. I wish you could see the glitter. You see it there? You can just see it, can't you, in the background? Woohoo! Okay, Ace of Cups. Swing! Pisces, this, I'm going to say new, but it's not entirely new because nothing is new with the Pisces. But this new lease that you get from the 7th, which could be quite a messy time, it could be a big blowout, it could be emotional, a big talk, all sorts can really happen. It's like a water bomb, just psh, everywhere. But that is causing a massive ripple, so that by the time you get to the 21st, you're free to ask for what you want when it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, and when it comes to, in inverted commas, power. In the extended reading, I am going to look at the 8 of Cups, the Emperor, what it takes to be the Queen of Swords, the Ace of Cups, what's coming in for us, what opportunities can we take advantage of, and also who's on the other side of this connection, how do they feel, and what is the best way for you to move forward? What are the obstacles? How do we overcome them? I'm going to go and do that now. So it's the first link in the description box below the video. Say hello in the comments, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll see you on the other side. Namaste.